This is the smell of the leftover tuna fish sandwich you left in your lunchbox over the weekend in a wimpy trash bag.
Wimpy, wimpy, wimpy!
Blech! And this is the smell of that same sandwich in a Hefty Ultra Strong trash bag.
Hefty, hefty, hefty!
Ah, smell the difference? Hefty Ultra Strong has Arm & Hammer with continuous odor control, so no matter what's inside your trash, you can stay one step ahead of stinky. And for bigger jobs, try the superior strength of Hefty Large Black Bags. With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
It's Tony's baby, and that's just his defensive clinics. I mean, if you ask me, and I think there's a lot of people you'd ask, there's not a better defensive instructor in the country than Tony Medina. Just the things that he teaches.
All right, Heath, man, good to see you again. I'm glad you're here, buddy. Welcome to the Foul Pole to Foul Pole podcast.
Hey, good to see you, brother. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man. So you're heavily involved in the Firecrackers organization. You got a lot of stuff going on, trying to balance it all. So tell us a little bit about the Firecrackers and how you got started with them.
Man, it's it's an amazing organization. I mean, I don't know, how many people know it, but there's not another organization the size of it in the country. I think if you were to look it up, I think the next biggest organization maybe has less than half of the amount of teams that the Firecrackers have. And that's not necessarily the draw for me. About 3 years ago, maybe, Tony Medina and I had hooked up, and he invited a couple of my girls to come out and play. And so we went out to California and played. And when we were out there, he was like, "Hey, man, would you like to meet Tony Rico?" I'm like, "What?" Like, "Yeah, I'd love to meet Tony Rico." And we went in and sat down with the guy, probably 2 hours. And it was so crazy because it was like we were talking softball for 2 hours, but we never mentioned softball. And like I learned so much from him as a man and as a person that day, some of the things that he taught me, because my daughter's a pitcher. And so, I was that guy on the bucket, when she'd throw a ball that hit you in the shin or it'd go over your head. And I was that dad that made those mistakes, and blew up on the bucket. And I was talking with Coach Rico while we were out there, and I guess he could kind of sense it, that was me and that was our relationship. And he said, "Well, what's your goal with her?" And I said, "Well, what do you mean?" He was like, "Well, what's your goal with her?" And I was like, "I want her to be a good pitcher." And he was like, "Really? That's like, as a dad, that's what you care about?" And I was like, "Well, no, not really as a dad." And he was like, he's like, "What's your goal?" He's like, "Do you want her to grow up and be a confident young lady?" I was like, "Well, yeah, absolutely." He was like, "Do you want her, let's say she chooses to be a doctor and she steps up to the surgery table, she's getting ready to perform surgery. Do you want her to look back at you to make sure she's doing everything right? Or do you want her to trust in the tools that she's been given and the things that she's been taught and go, I got this, I know what I'm doing. And if I fail, it's okay because I did things the way I was taught to do them." Right. And I was like, damn, like that was deep. And he was like, and on top of that, are you the type of coach that you would want her to marry? And I was like, ooh, like, yeah, I got to make changes. And so just being there with a guy who, like, many look at as the mecca, of softball. And don't get me wrong, I'm not taking away from the other great organization leaders are out there either. But, for as much high esteem as I had for him to say those to me, it made me really reflect on things. And what's crazy is we left, shook hands, had a great time. And then we never spoke once about being a Firecracker. And about maybe 16 months later, Tony Medina called me and told me. And I called Coach Rico, and Coach Rico's like, "Let's do it." And I was like, absolutely. Like, that's where I want to be. And so ever since then, man, it's been a blast because I've learned how to enjoy the roller coaster ride. I've learned how to enjoy the highs, and I've learned how to accept the lows. I've learned that when a player, possibly leaves your team for an opportunity, sometimes there's things you can do. Sometimes there's things you can't do, and that here's the one thing that is going to happen. no matter who it is, whether it's Medina, whether it's Sean Brashear, whether it's Rico, you're going to have somebody leave your team. And for me to see that happen with some of these other coaches, it made me not take it as personal and feel like it was a knock on me as a coach. It was just, it happens, man. And you know what? Every one of us are going to wish those girls the best of luck when they go on to their next journey.
Right. So it sounds like, Coach Rico, he has like a certain standard, and then like he has like just a way about him that draws in, anybody, that when you listen to him talk, and then when you hear people talk about him, it just sounds like how awesome a person he is. What impact can you point to that he's had on everyone that's come across Firecrackers, whether it be a competitor or be somebody on, in his organization?
Man, I would probably say just the way he talks about like the golden rule, the way you treat people, and it's been amazing to me to kind of see, because I mean, like I could call a guy right now and ask for help, and he would in a second he would do whatever he could do. And anytime somebody's having an issue, you talk to him. The guy's like, I call him a Yoda. He's like the Yoda, man. Because like you'll call him and you'll talk to him and you'll walk away like he never even answered the question, but I know the answer now. And that's kind of the thing that I get is just the way he treats people, man, the way he values relationships. One of the things that he's big on is outcome goals versus process goals. And when he would ask me, hey, what's your goals for your team this year? And I'm like, I want to finish top 10. I want to have a 750 win percentage, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, is that it? And I'm like, well, yeah, like those are my goals. And he's like, those are your outcome goals. And so what's crazy is we've always had a pretty successful team. Back when I was Hot Shots, when we were Intensity, Firecrackers now, we've got a lot of clout and we had a great season last season. But what's crazy is the more success I've had is when I've got further away from worrying about the outcomes and I got closer to the process, and I started trusting and teaching the process and understanding the process and working from things from that angle. We've actually had more success with our outcomes by getting away from focusing on outcomes. It's actually been crazy, man.
Do you think that is just a direct reflection of how Coach Rico has had an impact on you?
Not just me. I think it's me as well, but I think it's other people. And I think that the impact he's been able to have on me has helped me change my mind frame so much. And the success that I've had here has helped me reach so many people here in the Carolinas and the Virginias. The amount of phone calls I was telling you earlier, my phone does not stop ringing. And, it's pretty amazing though, because like it's cool to think that people hold that much, respect for you, because I mean, ultimately, dude, I mean, I'm just wet behind the ears on this thing. So I'm taking the Medinas, the Brashears, the Ricos, and I'm studying as much as I can. And, in my career as a first grade teacher, the great teachers take other great teachers' ideas and we use them, right? And that's the same thing you do on the coaching field. You don't have to reinvent everything. Find something that somebody's great at and take it. And my problem was when we first started back in tens was there were people that I saw that were great at getting outcomes in 10U. But I didn't know back then that those outcomes in 10U weren't going to help me become a better player and drive the process down the line, until I started getting around other people. Right. And so kind of just opened your eyes, and then it lets you, like I was saying with him, he lets you understand like, hey man, like there's a whole lot more value to me as a coach and to my girls as ball players than just whether we won or lost the ball game.
Right. I think in every organization you're going to have bad apples just here and there, but I think everywhere I've gone, been able to watch Firecrackers play or be around their coaches and stuff, there's just like, we all feel the certain way. I mean, there's a level of respect. There's just something that being a part of that organization just instills in the players, the coaches. And I think that comes back to the leaders that are in the organization. And so as you're coming into this big season, I know that's a big hot topic, making sure that the new girls that are in the team, are welcomed, and you guys are showing them the Firecracker way.
Absolutely, man. And like you said, like the F on our chest for Firecrackers stands for family. and that's what we always talk about a lot. And we talk about, when people come watch us, what do they see? Because here's the deal: anybody can watch you win or lose a ball game, but when they leave, what do they see? And there's been several people that I've had come up to me in games that we won or maybe a game that we lost, and they just talked about the respect that they have for the way we played the game, or different things like that, not running out of clock. We ended up losing a game in 3 ITBs in the East Coast Nationals a year ago because I knew there was like a minute and 23 seconds left, and I was like, roll with it, And they were like, and the parents of the team and the coach came up to me like, dude, I can't believe you didn't, like, all you had to do is call a timeout. I'm like, dude, my girls are trying to play college ball. When are they ever going to put an hour and 30-minute timer on my girls in college ball? I just got 3 extra innings of ITB ball where my girls had to be put in pressure situations and came through. And then ultimately we had to take our hat off to you guys because you got the final, you got the final one. I was like, dude, that was a great opportunity for me to learn and for my girls to get put in situations. I'll take that.
There's very few tournaments that you can look back on and pinpoint plays and specific moments and stuff like that. But there are situations that you'll always remember. You may not remember the tournament. You may not remember exactly where. I mean, some of them you will. But just, having those moments that, we talk about family, that the firecrackers, I think it helps when everybody's on the same page. So how's the transition as you bring in girls into the mix now, new players on the team? Like, what's the transition process like from them coming from different organizations or never playing travel ball before, that are, now, in the organization or at least trying out?
Well, it's interesting, with the team that I have, most girls that are coming to me are, have been in travel ball for multiple years to be able to play at the level that we're playing. Most of them have been there. This past season, I went to a 13-person roster because when we went to Colorado last year and when we went to Triple Crown Nationals at Myrtle Beach last year, by the time we got to our 9th, 10th game, we were just dogged out, man. They were exhausted. So I knew at that point I got to make an adjustment. And everybody had been telling me to keep a bigger roster, but I also know what travel ball in North Carolina is like, and I know the headache that keeping a bigger roster I know that it can create when you're not able to get people the amount of playing time that they want, because naturally everybody wants to play as many innings as they can. If you don't, then you're not the type of competitor that we want. But what we're trying to build is that family and that understanding and the goals that we have for our team, and how to be a teammate. So it was a little bit tough. There were moments where we had to have conversations, about our why and about our how. But by the end of the year, I feel like things pretty much started to gel. But there was a little bit of turnover. So it took me probably 4 tournaments to get it dialed in. And I still don't think we've maxed out where we're going to be at yet. But what's crazy is all 13 girls are returning for this season. So, we're really –
I think that's huge, the continuity that stays within a team. And going off of that, there's multiple girls playing on multiple teams, being coached by multiple coaches, and you guys get together and are able to do different things, run the scrimmage and stuff like that, and then have Firecracker Day. So tell us a little bit about how you guys get together, and it's just like its own little showcase.
Dude, it's crazy. So last year was the first year we've ever done it, and a lot of the guys over here haven't been out to California like I have. And so, like, when I go out to California, man, it's love. Like, one of the guys who was just calling my phone just now was Jay Hanawahini from Hawaii, and like every day this dude calls me, man. He's like, "What's up, brother?" And so, like, when we went out this year to Dawn Battles, I took 5 of my girls and we went out there and joined with Jay's Hawaii team and played. We beat there was a number 10 team in the country. We knocked them off out there 7-2. And just like the love that the Hawaiian culture, because like the Hawaiian culture is a completely different culture, like how appreciative they were to us and that love, like that's what I feel every time I go to Cali. So I was like, these people that aren't going to go to California or don't have the opportunities to go to California, how can I make them feel that? And how can I get other people to understand that the Firecrackers are here in the Carolinas? Because to be honest with you, I really didn't think we had a strong foothold in the Carolinas before. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a Firecracker Day. And Medina was like, what do you mean? And so Medina and I sat down. We were like, let's just do 8 teams. Let's just do 8 teams because I got a bunch of coaches that I'm friends with. Some of them were 14U age. LaRusso last year had an 18U team. Nick Stansel has a team from South Carolina. It's like, let's just get together and have a day where we all just hang out, have fun, and we get to meet each other and grow our network. And man, dude, it blew up into 13 teams, over 500 people. We got a guy on my team, JP Jones. He runs JP Media. Him and Craig Jones, who brought out his drone, put together an unbelievable video of the whole day on Saturday. And it was just crazy. And everyone left that thing talking about what a great time it was. And there were so many coaches that I still talk to on a regular basis right now that I never met until that day. And so like that feeling, and then Lily Kiefer's mom took like thousands of pictures. And as I started going through the pictures, the common theme was just the smiles on everybody's face. So I was like, you know what? Let's do it again. And then this year we just started our 10U team. So our youngest team down there in South Carolina. And I was like, you know what? Let's move it down to South Carolina because we only have Nick Stansel and Ken Reeves have a 16U team. And then Michael's got, our 10U team. There's no other teams. So I was like, you know what? Let's push it down there and let South Carolina kind of see what's going on. And, man, this year we've already got, I think, 11 teams have already committed. And then we've also got high school ball going on. So a bunch of the high school teams have committed individual players that I'm going to put together on rosters. So we've probably got about 15 teams probably this year that are going to come. This year, Tony Medina's bringing his coaching staff with him from his 10U team. He's got one of the top 10U teams in the country out there. And he's bringing his coaching staff, Walter and Liza Liddell. Liza runs D1 defense, played ball at Fresno State. Dude, she's phenomenal. So, like, I got to work with her when we went out this last time, and the girls are going to love her. So I'm excited for the girls to get to have the experience with a girl that actually played ball, was a D1 ball player, because it doesn't matter as much as I say. I'm a basketball player, man. I played basketball growing up. I didn't even play softball until I got in the military. But it's just the competition part, and the love of learning, like you said. So when I got into softball, I just wanted to be a dad. And then it was, let me keep learning. And now it's grown into doing all these great things with the Firecrackers because I'm in an organization that allows you to thrive. So this year's Firecracker Day, man, February 19th and 20th, Conway, South Carolina. Dude, I'm pumped. I'm excited for Conway. I'm excited for South Carolina. I'm excited for Firecrackers. I'm excited for, all of our families to get to experience it. I've already got Joe Swiderski from Missouri's bringing the team. Coach Terry from Indiana is talking about bringing a 16U team. Coach Radville from Georgia talking about bringing up a first-year 12, bringing them up for it. Then we've got South Carolina, North Carolina, got a team from Virginia coming, got a girl from Cali, a couple from Hawaii. I mean, it's crazy.
It sounds like it's going to be big. And I think that you bringing them to North Carolina last year, South Carolina this year, I think Firecrackers are more than have a foothold on the East Coast now. And I think that does nothing but help grow the game, bring that West Coast influence to the East, and then also bring that East Coast to the West. Because it is hard for coaches to kind of, are we doing it like them? Are we doing something completely different? What can we learn from each other? And I think it's huge. And I think Firecrackers are on the forefront of developing coaches as much as they develop ball players.
No, I agree. And we go through weekly calls. So like I just got off a call earlier today. We go through weekly calls that every Monday night and every Tuesday, 3:00 our time, noon Cali time, every week. But here's the deal. The part that I love about it is, a lot of people would rather it be force fed, but Coach Rico doesn't force feed it. It's essentially a buffet, come if you want, pick up what you want. And that's what I love about it, because anytime somebody's put a thumb down on me and told me this is what you got to do, then you want to try to find a way to not do it, right? Or you want to try to find a way to quantitate whether the value's there or not. But when he's like, hey, here it is. If you want to come. And dude, I'm telling you, every single time you get on that call with the crew that we have from across the country, the people that you listen to, Greg Metler, dude is amazing. Him and Adam Glittman do an amazing job with our recruiting board. And so last year, I had a chance to have 2 of my girls play on the USA team. First ever international challenge. They went out with Ben McKinney and played on the USA team, and we actually won a gold medal while we were out there. First ever international challenge. We won the gold medal. We're going back this year to defend our title. But what's crazy is I think we had 8 girls from the Carolinas. 6 of them were firecrackers. One of them was Mariah Heath, and then the other one was Katie, who just signed with Oklahoma. The pitcher just signed with Oklahoma. And dude, the amount of exciting and how much fun it was to be out there with girls from the Carolinas. Because you go to California, everybody thinks, oh, that's the Mecca. Oh, Florida. Dude, North Carolina and South Carolina's got some good ball. We got some good ball players here. They just need opportunities to shine. Dude, man, I mean, when we went out there, all these people that I have only seen in those little screens on our Zooms, instantly, I was like, Greg Mettler, Bill Linde. Bill walked up to me. We all already knew each other from the relationship we had built on a screen. So when we met each other in person, it was like we just kept rolling. And that's what's been so great is I can't even tell you how many new relationships I've developed I've really only been a firecracker for a year, So it's crazy.
Man. Well, I look forward to seeing what the firecrackers do. In some way, I'm going to be involved in Firecracker Day, even if I'm on the outside, doing something. I'll be looking in. I'll be there. Michael's going to have me there, I'm sure.
Dude, yeah,
I
absolutely.
look forward to it. Also, with the firecrackers that you have going on, you and Tony are doing D-Up. So, how do you split time? Kind of tell us what D-Up is and kind of go into that a little bit.
Yeah, so D-Up that's Tony's baby, and that's just his defensive clinics. I mean, if you ask me, and I think there's a lot of people you'd ask, there's not a better defensive instructor in the country than Tony Medina. Just the things that he teaches, the way he relays it for kids, even at a young age, to be able to understand, and just the energy that he has, Adam. I mean, every time you leave a D-Up camp, you're like, I can't wait to come back. And that's even for me as a parent, watching. I can't wait to come back. And so
This is the smell of the leftover tuna fish sandwich you left in your lunchbox over the weekend in a wimpy trash bag.
Wimpy, wimpy, wimpy!
Blech! And this is the smell of that same sandwich in a hefty, ultra-strong trash bag.
Hefty, hefty, hefty!
Ah, smell the difference? Hefty Ultra Strong has Arm & Hammer with continuous odor control, so no matter what's inside your trash, you can stay one step ahead of stinky. And for bigger jobs, try the superior strength of Hefty Large Black Bags.
Tony, I had seen videos on him online, and so I reached out to him one day, probably 4 years ago, and it's like, ask him a question about why he did something a certain way. And he was like, dude, here's my phone number. Hit me up. Dude, it's been crazy. Like, since then, I brought him out here to North Carolina, I think 5 times. And we sell out every time he's here. It's off the charts. We've went out to a couple of D-Ups in California, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 times. And so then he was like, hey, man, why don't you start running D-Up there in the Carolinas? And I was like, I don't know, like, that's your baby. I don't really want to do it. He's like, look, man. He's like, you don't have to do what I do. He's like, but you already do what I do. He's like, and think about the amount of girls that you could expose this to and the coaches that you could expose this to who then start doing things differently. And so I did, dude, and I love it. But I will admit, like you said, running the team that I'm running, playing at the level we're playing, also coaching Freedom Christian Academy's varsity team, and then my daughter being a pitcher. Dude, sometimes there's not enough time. And so, like, right now, I don't have another D-Up scheduled until February the 5th in Seneca, South Carolina. And then I've got another one over in Chatham, North Carolina, who I'm talking with the coach too, but we haven't solidified anything. In a perfect world, I'd love to run them, every Wednesday or every Tuesday, Thursday, but I just don't have the time for it. And so I try to spread myself out evenly, and figure out how to do things the right way. But I still have to, understand that ultimately, my team and my daughter are my first priority, because that's why I got into it. Because if it wasn't for her playing softball, I would have never even started studying all these people. And so I want to definitely make sure that I give to the Firecrackers and my girls that have been loyal to me, that I give them my undivided time. And so one of the things that I did recently with that is because, I'm hoping to take this thing even further. Last year we went out to Colorado. We finished 10th in Colorado and made it to Sunday, which, to me, I thought what we were supposed to do was make it to Sunday, right? From talking to a lot of people, only the top 10 make it to Sunday. And there are people that have been going there for 20 years that have never made it to Sunday. So I was like, oh, so this was like a pretty big accomplishment, right? And then we come home from that, We go to Triple Crown Nationals, and we finished third down there. And so then, of course, my wheels get to spinning. You know, what can we do? What can we do to do more? So then that's when I added a couple pieces to the team. Well, then here recently, and I haven't put this out on social media yet, but there's a coach here in the area who's a big baseball coach. His name is Norman Starsky. And so Norman Starsky just signed on with us, and he's coming on to be one of our assistant coaches this year. Man, he's pumped. We had a great workout the other day at his facility in St. Paul's, and dude, it's exciting, man. It's exciting to see the girls have another educational instructor, you know, another person to share feedback with them and things that I hope, you know, is just going to take us to another level. And then he's excited to learn more about D-up, because there are little nuances, you know, between the baseball game and the softball game that are different with the 90-foot bases and 60-foot bases. You know, softball is just a quicker game, and there's things that you have to do a little bit different. And so he's excited to learn those, and I'm excited now for us to kind of get to sit down and go back and forth on some things. So
I've only been able to go to one D-up, the one we had over in Conway, and I'm gonna ask you this. You've been to quite a few, ran a few, you know, participated a few. Is every D-up the same?
No, I mean, I've never been. Now, are there similar drills in some of them? Yes, but I've never been to one that's the same, because number one, the energy of the girls changes the energy, you know, like of the person out there. And then, for instance, like at the one you were at, we had girls as young as 8 and girls as old as 16 out there. So obviously there's going to be some things that we've got to do that are a little bit different, you know, as if I had split those, as if we were able to split them into groups. If I have a group that's 8-10U, we're going to run things a little bit different. And then I've got a group that's 12s to 16s, then we can really open things up and do things a little bit different, because ultimately, man, we want the girls to have a great time. We want them to learn. We want them to get better. We preach the whole 1 inch, you know, 1 inch a day. If you can commit to 1 inch a day, that's 30 feet, 4 inches in a year. You know, and if you're 9-10 years old, you grow 30 feet, 4 inches every year before you get to college, you're going to be pretty daggone good. And that's just by committing to that each day, you know. But ultimately, our number one is safety. And so there are things that we have to do at our D-ups, you know, that we entail the safety of our players, because, you know, anybody get hurt, number one, is not fun. And that's not what we're out there trying, you know, we're not hoping for that ever. So there are things that we have to take safety measures and precautions. Like, I don't want an 8-year-old at second base receiving a feed from a third baseman that's 16 years old, you know. Now, if we're working flips, I can work that. I can work flips and we can understand. But I also think there's so much power in that 8-year-old being out on the field with that 16-year-old who they look up to. Because I know what it was like for my daughter to be in the building pitching beside Carly Myrtle, who's now a freshman at UNC and going to play this year, pitching beside her, sitting in the dugout this year with Hope Jenkins, who's going to UConn, Kirsten Deal, who's going to Oklahoma, Kylie Chung, who's going to Stanford, sitting in the dugout, seeing these girls and the way she looked at them and the things that she learned from them. So there's so much power in those younger girls getting to have those role models. And, you know, we don't necessarily have the opportunities like California. You got to California, it's everywhere. I mean, we were at a clinic and Rylan was pitching with Oregon, and I was sitting right next to Tiare Jennings' parents. So I'm sitting there talking to Nacio, her dad. I'm like, holy cow, this is Tiare Jennings. I'm like, dude, she was one of my favorite players to watch this year at Oklahoma. Like, the best freshman I think I've seen. But, like, that's a common occurrence for those girls out there. And I think that's why the culture is driven. Of course, they started years ahead of us, but they have so many role models for those girls. So that's why I do like times when we do get to do that, but I also like when I can break it apart and we can do different things. But I mean, you get your arm angles, you get your short hops, you know, you get your flat back. Those are all going to be commonalities of things at a D-up, but there's going to be different things, you know, that we work on technically.
One thing I noticed when I was helping out with the D-up was there wasn't any flashy drills. There's not a whole lot of bells and whistles and this and that going on. It's nothing flamboyant. I mean, it is by the basics. You know, just get back down. Let's start with the foundation. The four corners drill that you were working, you know, you had them kind of broke up into age groups, and they were working that. That's a drill that you don't see at a lot of practices that I've been to. I've been to quite a few different teams practices doing different things and stuff. Get into how the basics that you're teaching the D up and with the firecrackers too, how that's so important, no matter if you're starting out at 8U or if you are a redshirt fifth year senior at Stanford.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think absolutely, like you're talking about with the four corners. So we're really teaching them how to drive that left knee down and feel your hips, right? Feel your hips turn and get squared up. And sometimes with our younger girls, we even will teach them to drop that left knee to the ground, turn, drop the left knee to the ground because they don't quite feel their hips. So they're not quite as flexible yet in their hips. But to me, like if you want to, there are going to be times when sometimes you just can't teach that flamboyant, flashy play. It's that person is so skilled and so confident in the basics and the fundamentals that they then can branch out and try something, because ultimately, you may get lucky and run a flashy play, but your people that are running these flashy plays, and you watch Major League Baseball, these guys have taken hours upon hours and thousands upon hundred thousands of reps. And so they're 100% confident in what they're going to do. That doesn't mean they're not going to fail. I mean, because it's going to happen. Failure. If you're afraid to fail, we're in the wrong sport. 300 hitters go. 300 hitters go to the Hall of Fame, right? So that means you failed the other 7 times. But if you get to the point where you're confident, like I always tell the girls a lot of times, like even rolling ground balls, right? So you'll see a lot of coaches, and the first thing they're going to do is they're going to go out and they're going to hit a ball as hard as they can at a girl so she can stop it. Well, here's the deal. In the game, what do we see the problem with girls the most is that they don't have their head down on the ball. Their head's up, right? Flat, straight back, not a flat back. Well, how in the world am I going to convince that little girl to get her head down there by the ball if I'm hitting rockets at her, right? But now if I start feeding her underhanded balls where she's not worried about getting hit in the face, then we can start working on getting that glove out in front, that head down behind the ball, low, flat back. And they're feeling confident because they know, like, I'm not going to get my face taken off right here because coach is rolling it. So then as you build the reps upon that and then you break out the back, now you get to the back. Dude, you've already taken like 70 ground balls a day. So now you're taking 71. You're not taking your first one. So you're cool getting down there because you're like, man, I fielded 70 balls. I'm ready for this one. I don't care what coach does. So that to me is what's the most important is and another thing that Medina and Rico always preach is if the drill's not successful, change the drill, So build these girls up with success. I mean, players in general, right? Build their house upon success. It's okay to fail. And then let's recognize that and let's see why we failed. But then give them repetitions of success. And that way we, we're confident in going what we need to do. And then, hey, man, turn them loose and you'll be amazed. Like there are times when I don't even tell the girls we're working glove flips or whatever. And we'll be at practice and somebody will go on a play up the middle from the shortstop behind their back glove flip to the second baseman who barehands it and throws it out. I'm like, what?
But my favorite word, you keep bringing it up. You said it a couple of times. My favorite word at this age group that we're dealing with, we're talking about young women, not adults. I'm talking about the word failure and fail because I think it's such a powerful word. And I think it has such a bad connotation. I use it a lot. I talk about it a lot, and I use it as a driving force to teach the younger. This is where we're supposed to fail at. We're supposed to. So as you're bringing them on and you guys are learning the firecracker way and they're going through different things, they're going to fail at it at first. And that encouraging thing that you and the two Tonys that y'all are able to do, I think that's huge. So how do girls get to that point where they understand and they feel that it's okay to fail and it's not an embarrassment? I'm not letting you down as the coach. I'm not letting my teammates down.
Man, it's tricky. I feel like everyone is every person is their own, there's no like 100% way, to tell you that it's the right way. Really what it is, man, is it's investing in relationships. And I feel like as a coach, the more you invest in a relationship, like I tell people, I treat relationships kind of like bank accounts, right? And they think that's kind of cold that I say that. But what I mean by that is that I've got to make deposits into my bank account before I can make withdrawals. So I've got to make deposits into the people around me before I can ask for something back from them, And if I've deposited enough love and enough care and enough other things, sometimes it's tough love, but if I've made my deposits in them, then it's okay to take out withdrawals, and to ask them for things, and we can do that. But, and maybe it comes from my teaching background, but I mean, what do they say? People don't know how much you care or how much you know until they know how much you care. Well, if I haven't built a relationship with you, it's kind of hard for me to ask you to fail and to be okay with failure if I haven't built a relationship with you. And so I feel like that's probably the biggest important thing that that they preach a lot, in the Firecracker organization, and Medina and I talk about, is just building relationships. And as you build those relationships, you're going to understand. And there are still girls that I have that struggle with failure. Just the other day, one of my girls, we were pitching, and I put a little 12-inch ring up. We were working outside corner, and we 4 out of 5 pitches she hit dead on with the ring, right? And she missed the very last one, and she was upset about it. And I said, why are you upset about it? And she said, well, I said, are you upset about it because you missed the ring? She said, no, I'm not upset because I missed the ring. She's like, that's fine. She's like, I wasn't worried about that. She's like, I'm upset about it because I missed fact. And she said it was a low outside pitch. So I knew in my head, if I was going to miss on a pitch like that, I'm missing further outside. And so and I explained to her, what a great opportunity for me that was as a coach. Yeah, you might be upset, and I get it, right? Punch our glove, we're done with it. But how much of a great growth opportunity was that I didn't even have to give her the answer. She gave me the answer that I'm cool with missing my ring, but on a low outside pitch, I got to miss my ring out, not dead red. And I was like, man, starting to get it. Now, don't get me wrong. 3 years ago, I'd have probably been like, you can't miss that pitch there, but that's where I've grown and invested in relationships that I have with our coaches in our organization and my girls. And I've learned, because ultimately, man, not one of these girls goes out there on that dirt and says, I want everybody on this whole place to look at me when I make a mistake today. Right. There's nobody that feels worse about it than them. So what can we do to prepare them for when that happens, and to make sure that, hey, look, it's done now. It doesn't develop into the next one, and the next one.
Right.
So.
Right. Well, man, it has been great catching up with you. You're full of knowledge and energy. Man, I could talk to you all night. Well, as I wrap this up, I want to get into what is going on for Heath right now in the near future. What's his future plans? What's Heath got going on? Tell us about something, kind of let us know. And then, somewhere down the road, we'll catch up and we'll see where we're at.
Man, really, it's just enjoying each day, man, and enjoying the time that I get with my players, with my daughter. Because, when we started this thing out, there was just 8 girls. And, we felt like we had forever. And, now all of a sudden it's every year is oh, I'm down to 4 years now. Next year, I'm down to 3 years now. So just enjoying the ride, trying to get an inch better myself with my girls, with our team this year, bringing on Coach Starsky. Really excited about that. Coach Chris is nearing, he's really being successful right now with his battle with leukemia. So we're hoping that he's able to finally kick this thing and get back with us too, and get our coaching staff back at full strength. Because really, it's kind of been a 2-man show to this point. We've had a lot of success, but I'm really excited to see when we've got 13 girls and we're able to break things up into small pieces, and with various instruction, what we're able to do with our team. This year we'll be going to Colorado. Will be our big summer tournament again. We'll be out there at the Sparkler, hopefully in the power pool this year, competing with the best of the best. Got a couple girls that'll be going back to play for the International Challenge. I got some girls, 2 that'll probably be playing for USA. I got one who's being looked at right now by South Korea, and one who's talking with Italy. So we may have a couple girls out there playing in the International Challenge this year. And usually that's your 16s and 18s. But, hey, like I told them, if you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, let's try it. Let's see. So that's kind of it with our team. Really excited to see what we do when we come together. We really aren't coming together as a team until June for our first tournament, because pretty much all my girls except for 3, well, actually, even though they're 8th graders, they're going to be playing high school ball this year too. So almost all my girls are going to be playing high school ball this year. And so, we don't want to blur the lines. There's already such a, sometimes a headbutting between the two. So we want to respect the high school coaches. We respect their season and their time, and we want to give them time to enjoy the game and represent the cities that they are in. And then we'll take care of travel ball, when we get back in June together. So that's kind of with our team. I've got Freedom Christian Academy too. We've got our varsity season coming up this year. Last year, we were primarily eighth graders. Had 2 girls on that first team All-State as eighth graders, and we made it to the Final Four. So we're seeing if we can make it back to the Final Four this year and maybe chop our way into the Final Two, hopefully this year. D-Up, got D-Up going on. I got one Seneca, February 5th. Chatham, I don't know yet. Still working with a coach on that. But we do have one. So on Firecracker Day, February 19th and 20th. It's a firecracker-only event. But, man, Tony Medina has never been to South Carolina before. And so what I'm going to do, and I haven't even released it out to everybody yet, so this will be the first time they hear it is on your podcast. But I'm going to February 20th, we're going to leak it out here soon, probably at the end of the weekend, that we're going to open up two sessions, 50 girls a session, 2 sessions to get to work with Tony Medina and Liza Liddell. I mean, Tony's pumped. He's excited. I know the people in South Carolina, like, I do a good job, but I'm not Tony Medina. So, like, if you enjoyed me, like, you're going to love this dude. And Liza, she takes it to a whole nother level, man. So it's going to be pretty exciting.
Man, I can't wait. I wish you guys good luck, whether it be with the Firecrackers as an organization, as a team, the D-Up, high school coaching. Man, I can't wait to see, where you go with it. And I'm going to be, checking in, touching base with you, figure out what's going on. My players, my girls will definitely be going to the D-Up that's going to be going on in Conway. Man, I want to thank you for stopping by and, giving me a chance to sit down with you and also let the listeners kind of learn a little bit more about Heath, the Firecrackers. You talk about, Tony, Coach Rico, Coach Medina. I mean, just a lot of positivity, a lot of energy, and, man, it's great to talk to you, and I appreciate you coming.
Nah, brother, I appreciate you on here, man. I appreciate you spreading that because you used the word right there, man, positivity. Look, man, there's already so much negativity in the world, and we're all coming to softball for one reason. It's because our daughters love it, which then grows the love inside of us. So, hey, let's keep it as positive as we can, right, and pay it forward to everyone else, man. So I appreciate everything that you're doing, and I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Take care.
All right, brother. Have a good one.
All right, so that's it for this episode of Foul Pole to Foul Pole. I want to thank Heath for stopping by. Really dropped a lot of knowledge for us. All his information is down there in the description below. Firecrackers, D-Up, JP Media. Please, if you're not subscribed to this channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, and you'll get all these videos plus more in the future. When you share this video with a friend, make sure you tell them you love them.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper, a woohooer, a hand clapper, a high fiver? I kind of like the high five, but if you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. At ChumbaCasino.com, choose from hundreds of social casino-style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses. So don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18 plus.